So yeah, before we begin, just wanted to do a quick intro. This is Eunice. Eunice, I'll let you introduce yourself, where you're from, full name, what you do, and a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so my full name is Eunice Chan. I used to be based in Hong Kong when I first hired Quasi. Now I am based in beautiful Dubai. I am a mindset coach. When I first approached Quasi, I was a mindset coach. Now I'm also working into identity shifting as well, just really incorporating those principles into my practice and helping my clients get better results. So yeah, that's basically a bit of my background.
Amazing, amazing. So yeah, I think you joined the program, what was it, like 3, 4 months ago? Maybe a little bit.
I think it was a little longer than that.
Okay,
Maybe five.
gotcha. Was it somewhere during
Yeah.
November or October, November?
It must have been October.
Gotcha. Wow,
Yeah.
that was a long time ago. It's March now. Hard to believe. So, yeah, I wanted to ask you, like before you joined the program, what really motivated you to join? Like how did you even find me and, what really inspired you? Like what made you pull the trigger on it?
So many things, honestly, Quasi. Like when I came across, I I believe it actually must have been your YouTube, sorry, your Facebook group that led me to your YouTube channel. And when I started devouring your content, I was like, oh my God, he is speaking about me. I need an identity shift. I am not where I want to be in my business. I started seeing and consuming some of the client successes that you've had, and I'm like, I want that to be me as well. So
Oh,
I started like visualizing
uh-huh.
what it would be like to be getting those results. That's how it started.
Gotcha, gotcha. That's awesome. So yeah, it was interesting. I think you contacted me like it was very, very early morning where I was. I was like just doing work. You were like, hey, I was looking for a spot for consult because back then I was like fully booked up for that period of time. And I was like, you know what? Let's do this. Let's do this really quickly. And
Yeah.
I think you wanted to talk to someone who was in the program as well, just for a little bit of certainty. You did that, and you were like, one thing interesting you said was, I'm gonna cash in on my chips, my last few. I think, what was it? What was it? Like the last, I can't remember what you said.
I call them faith chips. I had some
Gotcha.
faith chips in my hand, and I knew that, when the time was right, I'm going to invest in the right person that's going to get me there.
Amazing, amazing. That's awesome. So yeah, tell us a little bit about what you do and like how it's transitioned. Like, you were a mindset coach before. What are you doing currently? And like, how is that transition from when you were in the program too?
Well, from the principles that I have learned in the course, I realized that, what I was doing before for my clients was really not enough. Like, I focus a lot on helping them work through their limiting beliefs, working through their resistance. But then I also realized that, it's not really supported by the principles of helping them visualize and cultivate a new future for themselves. And so I've really started incorporating some of those principles and, helping them define what is a higher version of themselves, what is the version 2.0 of themselves, and
Mhm.
really helping them effectively to step into that.
Gotcha. That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's amazing. So, like, what was the biggest thing you were struggling with before you joined the program that really inspired you to join? Why did you feel you needed an identity shift anyways?
Too many. But I have to say, there's so many things in my life were misaligned that reflected in the struggle in my business. And I felt like part of my identity, I couldn't really see myself as a successful coach. I couldn't see myself as someone who was experienced. And I couldn't see past the income ceiling that I was creating for myself. And because I've never experienced having more money,
Hmm.
I didn't know what that was like. And I couldn't create that feeling to surrender and trust into the process. So without having a vision for myself, it was like kind of just throwing like blind shots into the air and just
Spaghetti on the
hoping it
wall.
sticks. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Gotcha.
But
Gotcha.
but those principles that you taught me really helped me transcend my vision into something a bit more tangible. And I felt like after going through a lot of those exercises that you gave us, and really applying those principles in my life and implementing them as well, because that's obviously the process, I realized that I could actually sort of see and feel what my future reality could look like. And I could feel it in myself as well.
Yeah, this is something that Tiffany, one of our former clients, she used to talk about as well. Like it no longer felt separate from her, but rather it felt as though it was a part of her. Is that something that you would describe as accurate?
Yes, yes, absolutely. I'm still working on my biggest goals and my bigger vision, but I feel like I am becoming more and more of that person every day. And I have that certainty and really owning up to my voice and my personal power. And I have like zero doubt about, my ability to shift into that version. Yeah.
Totally. So what's interesting, I remember, is before you joined, you were not shy of taking action. You took massive action for your business. You were like doing hours and hours of prospecting. I still remember that. And like, I think I remember within the first week of the program, one of your big epiphanies that you posted in the group was like, what? I don't have to take massive action. I just need to take aligned action. Could you elaborate on that a little bit more? That was something that was really key, even for me to see that, that's a big takeaway. A lot of people were taking away that from the program too.
Well, in the beginning of the program, when I first met you, I was working really, really hard. But I wasn't really assessing about where I was in the business and what are some of the things that I was not recognizing in my life that was lacking attention. And so I realized that I was not really successful in the way that I wanted to be, and I didn't own up to my personal power because I really shied away from talking about my business in my personal life and to my family, to my friends. And once my identity shifted around that, and I started opening up to my friends about that, I was able to call in 3 clients from that week alone. So that was really, really helpful for me.
Gotcha.
Are you able to hear me?
I lost your video. I'm like losing your video because of the connection. Could you try like stopping the video and starting it? Maybe it'll make it better.
Yeah. So it was actually a very...
Yeah, you were talking about that post you did, which helped you like get 3 clients. Could you, let's get back to that.
Yeah. So one of the exercises that you gave us was to really step out of our comfort zone and to challenge the way that we used to do things. And I have always, I've never ever challenged the way that I show up in front of my family and my friends. And I think that is the really big fundamental shift that happened for me, that really challenged who I see myself and how I showed up in my physical surroundings. And once I allowed that identity, that part of my identity to calibrate into the ideal version of who I want to become, then I was able to instantly call in like 3 clients. I mean, they were small clients, but I attracted the people who needed to hear my message because I finally was able to boldly step out of my comfort zone and show up in front of my family and friends that totally. I was not able to do that before.
Totally. Yeah, that was something that was very, very big for you, I remember, because a lot of our clients have that as well. It's like the inability to accept themselves starts to reflect out in their business, right? When they pitch their products, they pitch themselves because, other people don't approve of them and they let it get to their heads. Like I remember back when I was doing my business too, my parents didn't approve of it. And I would try to, go out there and put myself out there, but I knew there was a part of myself that was held back. So I couldn't fully step into that version of myself. There was always a discrepancy. There was always 2 versions there at the same time. So yeah, that was something very, very big. So yeah, I also wanted to ask you about, you mentioned small clients. So I've been dying to know, Eunice, like what was the monthly revenue you were at back then to right now? Like what's the highest monthly revenue you've had, on average, how much are you making per month now in your business? And what were you at back then? Like what was the jump that happened?
So the biggest identity shift that I wanted to see in myself. So let's just, I'll bring you back to my biggest goal of who I wanted to become first. I wanted to see myself as a premium coach, and I wanted to be charging higher premium prices so that I could attract more quality clients to come into me, people who are more committed and who are willing to put in the work. So when I was just starting in the program, I was signing clients at $297 for 2 months. That included 8 calls. So I mean, that was a huge energetic involvement for me, for a very small amount of relatively small amount of money. And I wanted to see myself at the time. I visualized seeing myself charging over thousands of dollars. But I just couldn't figure out how to energetically shift into that space. So right now, my last client that I signed was $3,300 US for also a 2-month capacity.
Wow, that's awesome.
So that was like such a huge win for me.
Holy crap, that's like 10x. So when was that?
That was like such a huge win for me.
Gotcha. Yeah, your video like lagged just a little bit right there, but it's fine now. We're like getting a little bit of interruption. If we get another one, we'll just shift to Zoom, see if it makes it any better. But yeah, just to recap, you mentioned that you went from charging like for 2-month program, 8 sessions at $297 to $3,300 now. That's pretty amazing. Wow. So what really brought that shift about? What was it? What was missing back then?
I know, like I couldn't see myself doing. I think back then was the ability to see that my service was worth it, and to recognize that the changes in my clients and the growth in my clients was there. And I also had a hard time celebrating and recognizing my value and the change that I was bringing into my clients' lives.
Gotcha. That's awesome. And yeah, it's important to note, Eunice, that this didn't happen overnight. Like you didn't just go through the program within the 6 weeks and then boom, you start charging 3,300. But I totally think there's like an element of connection of both you developing your program.
Not.
Yeah, and also like you shifting into that version of yourself. It's like 1 step, 2 steps, right? You become that and then you consolidate it in the results that you're generating, and then you keep moving forward in that manner. Right?
Yeah. What I really loved about one of the principles that you taught us was to leverage on a principle of compounding. And so ever since then, I always think to myself, like, how can I, compound my daily actions? How can I compound every single opportunity I get? How can I compound every single interaction that I have with someone? And I can, witness and see my life just literally unfold before my eyes. And, on a day-to-day level, it feels like it's happening very slow, but on a macro level, everything is happening so quickly. It's like literally exploding in front of my eyes.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Also another interesting thing about you is that I've seen you're not afraid to invest in yourself. Like you'll invest the last penny, and then because like this is something that all people miss, especially coaches, people who sell their own products. They don't invest in themselves and they expect other people to invest in themselves, right? So like what does it say about your own psyche when you're putting down like $6,000 and investing in a program in education for yourself, $10,000 on your personal growth, right? So yeah, I wanted to know over the last year or even maybe over the course of your journey, how much have you invested in yourself and in your growth?
Oh, last year, how much did I invest?
Last year or even over the course of your business, let's say.
I invested over 10K in my business. Over 10K, I have to say. And every few months, I make a new investment. I always upgrade. I always find people to help me upgrade my beliefs, my mindset. I'm always consuming and applying at the same time. So I'm not just learning, I'm also making time to implement them as well. And always seeking new mentors, new people on my team to support me, and people that can help me see my vision. I think that's really, really important.
Totally, totally. Yeah, like a big part about is working with someone that you resonate with, or else you'll never accept their teachings. If you don't vibrate at the same frequency, you're going to be reluctant to accept their teachings, right? If you're
Yeah.
skeptical about someone, you're never
Yeah.
going to want to even hear them out. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's definitely a big one. So yeah, I also wanted to talk about other aspects of your life aside from business. Like we talked about relationships as well. And what has that
I
been
love
like
it.
since you've
I
started?
love
What
it.
was it like before the program? How did that evolve?
Okay, so my relationship has changed. My everything that I am manifesting into my life has changed. It's really compounded. But I think one of the bigger things that I wanted to work on was the the relationship I had with my husband. I found him to be. I used to find him to be very like negative and difficult to get out of his own headspace, and that would really affect my own energy in my business and in myself.
Hmm.
And when I started applying some of the principles of reality shifting and identity shifting, I learned to respond and not react to him. And I was really able to focus on the center screen and to really my uh, maintain a very balanced emotion, a very balanced relationship with him,
Hmm.
such that when I let go of the obsession to control him and the obsession to try to fix him. And I just completely surrendered and let go of that. Things started happening. And I've manifested him watching The Secret. He learned about manifestation. He's talking in the language of manifestation and law of attraction. We are, together we are manifesting a lot of amazing, free dinners. We're manifesting discounts into our lives. We're manifesting money. We're manifesting, extra like just work, job opportunities.
Hmm.
We're manifesting like free things. Like there's just so much abundance that's just coming our way. One of the things that came to us was a gym membership that gave us access to like 20 hotels,
Oh wow.
and I couldn't luxury hotels as well, and I couldn't possibly have imagined how I could have like how I could have had access to that
Mm.
in the first place. But the universe just gave me access to not one, not two, but like 20. So that's just as good as we get.
So I saw one of the pictures where you were like on a laptop was it in a jacuzzi? I don't know. It was like nearby the pool. Was that one of the
Yeah,
hotels?
that was one of the hotels. Yes.
Ah.
So I'm fully stepping into claiming my next level identity, and I'm really living it. Like that's exactly the vision that I had for myself, and I couldn't imagine how it could possibly come to me,
Hmm.
but the universe delivered. And just by applying those principles that you taught in the course, by applying them and by integrating them in my life, I can see magic happen.
Mm. Amazing. Amazing. So what would you say was like the most profound week or module in the program for you? What was the biggest takeaway for you from the program that really made the biggest impact?
Um, I would probably say it. I don't know. I have to say every single module was like mind blowing. Uh, intentions. I would say it's setting the intention. I forgot which module it was, but you teaching us to identify the next level version of ourselves
Hmm.
and making it so easy for us to detach from the attachment that we used to have of our old identities and the
Mm.
fabrication of our identities really helps me step away from the attachment that I used to cling on to
Right.
my old self.
Mm.
Um, and one of the exercises I always go back to is my developing working through my purpose and my why. And I think that that was one of the that's one of the things that I still constantly go back to. You know, asking myself, like, why am I doing this? And really getting to the root and the bottom of what drives me from my core. And that is exactly why I still do what I do. That's why I show up. That's why I show up with so much energy. That's why I'm so passionate, is because you helped me activate that part of me that needs to be answered, that had questions that I didn't answer before. So that was very, very valuable. I mean, that by itself was valuable.
That's amazing. That's really, really awesome to hear, Eunice. And yeah, I suppose like what's if you were to look back at that old version of you, knowing what you know now, back in October, back before you joined the program, back when you were grinding the 12-hour days, what's a piece of advice you'd give yourself, like being this new self, being where you are currently?
Hire Quasi sooner. In all honesty, I would say that everything that I used to go through is going to become a piece of gem for me in the future. And I didn't need to go through so much heartbreak. I didn't need to give myself such a hard time, that I could really forgive myself and let go of some of the pain and hurt that I did to myself, and really use that as empowerment, and use my old story to claim my true power that I am standing in right now.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think that's something I would also tell my old self. Like, it doesn't need to be this hard. You don't need to make it this difficult for yourself. Because more often than not, we subscribe to that conditioning of you got to take massive action. You got to grind the 12-hour days. You got to do this, 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 and this. But you only got to do that if you don't know what it's like, if you've never done it before. That's when you got to do it. But then you can just take a chill pill and actually focus on the things that are necessary. Understand the power of resting and recovering. So that's something I've learned was very important for me as well. So yeah, I think also, Eunice, your growth was so exponential. I mean, it was very, very quick, even as you went through the program, but the material results, those, it took maybe a little bit longer to come. But the internal shift, I think part of the reason why it happened so quickly was because you did the work. Like, you came up with an enthusiastic attitude and you diligently went through it, and you put aside all of your, things that aren't the garbage that wasn't serving you. And you were quick to you were flexible essentially in your current identity. You could detach from that to attach to consciously creating what you wanted, what would serve you on this journey. So honestly, you got out of it what you put in. And yeah, I'm really excited to see where you are today with so much energy, actually aligned. So what will be the next step for you? What is that bigger vision you're working towards right now?
I would say it's to hit those 10K months and to step into the higher version of me that is unafraid to expose myself to a wider audience, as well as I would say it's to really own and claim my voice through writing, through video, through just speaking to my clients, to really clean that energy. I think that's something that I really want to nail down. And once I have that drilled down, then I know it's going to be even more exponential. So I'm going to be compounding the compounded effect.
Amazing. So what were the results for your clients like too? Just to end things off, like as you've become this better person compared to when you were doing the $200 clients to when you're doing the $3,000 clients?
So my clients are no longer, some of them come to me with, serious self-esteem issues. Some of them are unable to talk in front of people, and then they've been able to transform themselves to people who are not afraid of public speaking, taking their presence onto stage. Some of them redefine their self-image into identifying themselves as someone who is much younger and youthful. Some of them actually went as far as to tattoo a new hairline onto their heads, actually because they identified themselves as more youthful and full of energy, and that actually reflects in the way people approach them, the way people talk to them. I've actually had a few clients that got tattoos after talking to me. So I think I'm starting a tattoo cult.
That's awesome.
But it actually really shows. I think it really goes to show that, you know, when you allow your true authentic self to come out, and just shed away all the fabricated layers, all the layers that are inauthentic to you, you give yourself permission to do what it is that makes you happy and to do what it is that you want to do.
Amazing, Eunice. So that's really awesome. It was really enlightening to have you on, to see your growth after so long. I think last time posted a testimonial of you, but that was like within the couple months that you were in the program. So it's amazing to reconnect with you again. And for those of you who want to check Eunice out, I'm going to attach her socials down in the links below. Your website, your YouTube, your Facebook. It'll be amazing. And Eunice, thank you so much for this. This was really great. And yeah, please keep me updated with your progress. I want to see where you are at, you know, mid-year, end of this year. Hopefully that 10K month will come soon.
Absolutely. Oh, it will come very, very soon. You have my word.
Yeah, good. I love to hear that. All right, guys. Thanks.
Bye.